Hello everyone, welcome to 𝗟𝗶𝗵𝗁. My name is Swati and today in this video we are going to have a look at few common but critical HR policies to have in place, along with few policies that you as an HR professional should clearly avoid to include. HR policies are integral to a company's overall operations and HR strategy. They provide a company's workforce with a roadmap on how to navigate various employment-related issues, opportunities, and challenges, and often include supplemental and more detailed procedures. Companies must be proactive in developing policies and updating them as needed based on any changes in the law and the company initiatives and environment. Development of policies is often a collaborative effort between human resources and legal department, as well as any other key players of the particular policy. Policies are only effective if employees are aware of them. It's the company's responsibility to communicate and even train the workforce on its policies. Not only does this help employees understand what's expected of them and the various reporting options, but it also protects the company if any issue arises.
So let us begin to see some common but critical HR policies. The first and the most important policy says that employees are hired and employed at will, which allows both the employer or the employee to terminate the employment at any time as long as the reason is lawful. This policy is widely practiced in most of the countries and may have varying regulations on a state-by-state basis. It is essential to note that while an employer may end the employment relationship for any reason, it should not be based on any discriminatory motive such as gender, age, race, or religion. And at-will employment policy provides both the employer and the employee with flexibility, and it is essential to familiarize oneself with state-specific regulations to avoid any unfair practice. Secondly, a non-discrimination policy is an essential aspect of any workplace. It is a formal statement or set of guidelines that clearly communicate an organization's commitment to treating all individuals fairly and equally, irrespective of specific protected characteristics or attributes. Discrimination under the law refers to any unfavorable treatment or action taken against an individual or group based on their membership in a protected class. This includes hiring, promotion, pay, work assignments, work schedules, and terminations. Such practices are illegal and can result in serious consequences for the employer. This policy is important for promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion within your organization and ensuring that the business complies with relevant anti-discrimination laws and regulations. Anti-harassment policy is crucial to ensure a safe and comfortable work environment for employees. Harassment can be defined as any unwelcome conduct that violates an individual's dignity or generates an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or an offensive environment. This behavior can be both sexual and non-sexual. The anti-harassment policy should provide guidelines on the reporting of harassment to HR. It is also essential for HR to ensure that employees feel comfortable reporting harassment and that they investigate any claims and allegations seriously and appropriately. Next, retaliation is a term that refers to any adverse action taken by an employer against an employee who has reported a violation of workplace policies or laws. Forms of retaliation can include termination or dismissal, exclusion or isolation, hostile work environment, failing to promote, or any other discriminatory treatment. Some countries' law prohibit employers from retaliating against their employees. Employees who feel they have been retaliated against can take advantage of various reporting options such as filing a complaint with the HR or taking legal action in a court of law. HR must have a retaliation policy in place to protect employees who exercise their rights and responsibilities within the workplace and promote ethical workplace behavior. Enforcing such policies can help promote a safe and fair work environment for everyone involved. Next policy is about today's digital age, which is social media, that has become integral to business and our personal lives. However, it's important for companies to create and enforce social media policies that protect the reputation of the company while providing guidance on company accounts. In research conducted, around half of full-time and part-time workers stated that their workplace enforces rules on social media usage while working. Additionally, Approximately 32% of workers indicate that their employers have guidelines on how employees should present themselves on the internet as a whole, with around 63% indicating that their employer does not enforce such policies. Ultimately, social media policy can help prevent any negative impact on the company's reputation and safeguard against any legal liabilities that may arise. By having a clear and concise social media policy, employees can better understand how to represent the company on social media platform, allowing for a positive and engaging online presence. Next policy is about remote work. So as companies increasingly adopt hybrid or fully remote working arrangements, it is crucial to establish comprehensive remote work policies. These policies help to maintain employee productivity and prevent potential burnout. According to a study conducted by 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝘁, 63% of remote workers feel compelled to check emails on weekends, with 34% doing so even while on vacation. An additional 48% indicated that they often work outside of traditional work hours, while 44% reported working more than this year compared to previous year. If your company offers remote work options, it is important to have well-defined policies that facilitate efficient work for both managers and employees. For example, Microsoft has urged teams to schedule after-hour messages to be sent within office hours. Additionally, your remote work policy should establish clear expectations regarding the frequency of working from home and the need for in-office presence. One is the workplace violence policy, which is an essential component of any well-functioning organization. Instituting a zero-tolerance approach towards the issue is paramount, but defining what constitutes instances of workplace violence and what items are classified as weapons is equally important. Prohibited behavior should also be clearly outlined, and employees should be educated on the potential disciplinary measures if they are found to be violating the policy. By having a comprehensive workplace violence policy in place, employers can ensure the safety and well-being of all their workers, creating a healthy and productive working environment for everyone involved. Another one is for drug and alcohol policy, which is also an essential to any workplace safety program. It establishes the rules and expectations regarding substance use and abuse among employees. The policy must specify the procedures for testing, which may include random testing, post-incident testing, and reasonable suspicion testing. Consequences for violating the policy should also be clearly outlined. Depending on the industry, additional policies may be necessary for CDL drivers and other DOT-enforced work. It is vital to consider special considerations in these circumstances to ensure the safety of everyone involved. Another important policy is about recruiting and hiring, which serves as a guiding principle for organizations while hiring the most suitable candidates for specific job roles. Hiring and selection policy should be clearly designed with clear guidelines in place to ensure that the organization only employs candidates whose education, experience, and skills match the job requirements. In addition to this, document retention policies play a crucial role in maintaining complete employment records after the hiring process is complete. By documenting the hiring process and retaining the relevant documents for future reference, employers can ensure both legal compliance and a smooth onboarding experience for new employees. Next one is the compensation policy, which describes the various pay classifications such as full-time, part-time, exempt and non-exempt employees and how those classifications are determined. Include information on internal equity, overtime pay, bonus, merit increase parameters, per diem, hazard pay and any other industry-related pay components in your policy. Religious accommodations are a necessary aspect of ensuring equal treatment for all employees in the workplace. If an employee requires an accommodation due to their religious belief or practice, it is important that HR ensures they understand the process for requesting one. Under the law, employees are entitled to request a religious accommodation from their employer, and HR must review the request and determine whether the accommodation is reasonable and feasible. Your religious accommodations policy should explain the requesting process, which may involve filing out a formal request form, meeting with the HR or their supervisor, and providing documentation to support their request. The process for employee discipline should involve a well-defined documentation system that outlines the various levels of disciplinary action and their corresponding duration. The aim of this process is to ensure that there is a consistent and fair approach to addressing any employee misconduct. Additionally, there should be clear notification procedures in place to inform the employee of the disciplinary action taken against them. And lastly, an appeal process should be available to ensure that employees have access to recourse if they feel that the disciplinary action was unwarranted. Another one is the dress code policy, wherein companies should be clear about the applicable dress codes, whether they be specific, uniform or general guidelines. These dress codes may apply within the property of the company and also outside of the workplace when representing the company. Next important policy is about attendance. These policies typically outline the steps an employee should take when they have an unscheduled or scheduled absence, as well as what to do if they are running late for work. To ensure the smooth functioning of the organization, it is essential to put proper attendance policy in place with clearly defined consequences for excessive, unexcused absenteeism. By doing so, employees understand the importance of being present and accounted for, and they can contribute to a healthier and more productive working environment. Next policy is about leaves, because it is essential that employees understand how to request extended time off for various types like personal leave, sick leave or any other category of leave. Not only does this help ensure that everyone is on the same page, but it can also help reduce stress and uncertainty for employees who may be dealing with difficult situations. By having clear and concise guidelines in place for requesting leave, employees understand the process of applying for the right type of leave. So, bereavement leave policy is another one that can be incorporated in your general leave policy section or as a separate entry for compensate leave. Define how many bereavement days are available and what the definition is of an immediate family member. Next policy is about meals and break periods. Create transparency about meals and break periods to ensure that employees are well informed and can plan their workday efficiently. Your policy should state the duration of meal and break periods and the number of breaks an employee is entitled to. Not only is it good practice to have a formal policy in place, but it is also a legal obligation for some businesses. By listing your break policy, you can promote a healthy work environment that values the well-being of your employees. Must-have policy is about nepotism, which outlines the process for hiring family members within the same department, organization, or reporting structure. Another one is the most common but an important policy to include in your handbook, that is the equal opportunity and diversity. This policy promotes fairness and inclusivity by ensuring that all employees are treated equally regardless of factors such as gender, religion, race, disability, color, or any other characteristic. It encourages diversity in the workplace, recognizing that a diverse workforce brings different perspectives and ideas. The last but the most important policy to include in today's time is about electronic communication. Define expectations on appropriate use of company electronic resources such as email, IM tools, confidential electronic records, etc. Clarify that the company has the right to monitor the use of any company property, which includes computers, internet usage, etc. Another thing about this policy is of bringing your own device to the workplace. Most common policy for a new age startups to include this thing in your policy, and according to this policy, the employees are required to continue office work from their own laptops, mobiles, routers, phones, etc. This also includes the terms related to protection of the company data and limitation of access to social media for personal use.
When crafting an employee handbook, it's crucial to avoid policies that can negatively impact your company culture, demotivate your employees, or even lead to legal trouble. Remember, your employee handbook should be a helpful guide, not a rule book. So focus on creating policies that promote a positive, fair, and productive work environment for everyone.
Now let's have a look to few policies that you should avoid to include in your employee handbook. first category is of the policies that are discriminatory or unfair, like avoid any language or policy that could be constructed as discriminatory based on race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, disability, or any other protected characteristics. And while you can have some guidelines for professionalism in your dress code, avoid overly restricted dress code that could be offensive or discriminatory. Also, regarding your employee selection or promotion practices, ensure your policies for recruitment, promotion, and performance evaluation are objective and merit-based. Second category is about the policies that restrict employee rights or privacy, like you need to be cautious about monitoring employee emails, internet usage, or personal devices. Ensure you have a clear and legitimate reason for such monitoring and have employee consent whenever possible. Also, while you can have policies regarding professionalism conduct on social media, avoid infringing on employees' rights to free speech outside of work. And don't prevent employees from seeking new opportunities after leaving your company unless there are legitimate business concerns like trade secrets. Category is of the policies that are overly vague or confusing, wherein you need to ensure your policies are written in clear and concise language that employees can easily understand. Provide specific examples and procedures for implementation. Also, make sure your policies are consistent and don't create conflicting obligations for employees. And regularly review and update your policies to ensure they reflect current laws, regulations, and company practices. Last category is of policies that create a negative work environment, wherein you need to avoid policies that threaten employees or punish them for minor infractions. Focus on creating a positive and supportive work environment. Also, trust your employees to perform their jobs effectively without excessive monitoring or control. You need to encourage a healthy work-life balance by avoiding policies that limit access to breaks or make it difficult for employees to take time off. That's all in this video. I hope now you are clear with what policies to include and what policies to not to include in your employee handbook. If so, then please share your feedback in the comment section and do like and share the video, and not to forget, please subscribe the channel to get connected with HR Administ.